Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris. Arch-USA.com is the website. Thank you, new guys who have guys, women, men. Got to get out of the habit of being this kind of gender-specific person when I'm talking. Thank you guys who have subscribed to the site. As you've seen by the title, today's episode is probably going to be more technical and more data-driven than you're used to. But it's important that we do this because, as always, last week, last week, I think it was April, maybe, you know what, maybe almost 2 weeks ago, we got the announcement that Nike and the Bryant Estate were breaking apart. I did not comment at that time. I waited until kind of the smoke had cleared and hopefully we would get a little bit more information. But I mean, in some instances, you're just not going to get a whole lot of information because those are business deals that are worth millions of dollars that are in between an estate and a brand that it happens inside of closed rooms and we don't get access to those rooms. What we do have access to, though, is our own data. So unlike all of the posts that you've seen where people were talking about this, I'm going to read to you guys an article. It's behind a paywall on the site. If you'd like to subscribe to the site, I'd suggest that you do because there's a ton of information on the site in the business section that can help you out. But this is not a pitch for me trying to sell you on subscribing to the site. It is a full-blown analysis of why this deal fell apart. And I'm going to read the majority of it. So I won't be looking at the camera. I'll be looking down and over here to the side so I can get these numbers right. But what I'm going to show you are the numbers from the last 3 years of sales on Kobe Bryant sneakers. Now, it's important that I do this because I've watched a ton of videos, and I think by far the best one that I've seen has been the Jock Slade video where he does the hard pass and he talks about the fact or the reality that this stuff was really sitting. But I don't think people grasp how bad it was until you actually see numbers. And then at that point, it becomes a little bit more crystal clear how poorly performing the Kobe line was for Nike. And I know that doesn't feel good to hear. I'm a huge Kobe fan, San Diego State. I mean, obviously, being California people, man, we love Kobe. But Kobe's shoes were not selling. Even when he was alive, the sales were not great. So I'm only going back 3 years. I'm not going back 10 years into sales, which I could do. I could actually open up a secondary window for my Amazon account and give you guys, matter of fact, I'd have to go to Seller Central and log in, and I can give you that also. But I haven't used, not now, I haven't used this account for a long time, man. So it's not going to be as easy to navigate. But I do want to go in and give you this information because it will take us back, way back to, 2017 was the last time these Philippines released, but they didn't sell for $149 at that time. I have these listings up. Actually, you know what? When I go back to 2016 on some of these prices, things look okay. All right, so let me not jump ahead. If I go way back beyond 3 or 4 years ago, right around the time Kobe retired, when he retired, the prices did spike back up. All right, but let's get into it because I'm talking so much, and you guys are probably like, dude, you're talking a lot. Get to it. I always wait a few days before writing a report or response to information in the mainstream. This gives the talking heads on YouTube and in social media a chance to pontificate and espouse their theories on why or what happened to cause negotiations to come to a halt between Nike and the Bryant Estate. After Nick DePaula broke the news of the possible end of the relationship, theories flew like Kobe on a fast break. Fans screamed that Nike was making a big mistake, and others understood that Kobe was working on his own potential line. I didn't say anything. I did what I always do. I went to my numbers for the last 4 years. I also looked at Vanessa Bryant's comments about the sneakers selling out immediately, and I realized that she might be getting misinformation on Nike basketball in the US, especially signature footwear. Now, let's keep going. I know that Kobe in China is akin to Jordan in the US. Nike should want to maintain that relationship. However, in the US, contrary to what Vanessa Bryant understands, Kobe's did not sell out unless they were extremely limited. Since Kobe's retirement and before, Nike rolled out 4 variations of Kobe's footwear. There was the low-end Rage and Mamba versions, which retail between $90 and $120. There were the Kobe AD versions, which retail between $150 and $170. Then there were the NXT models and 360 that rang up for $200 a pair. The final part of that package was the Protro concept. This is where Nike found success because they did not overproduce that line. So the Protros were never overproduced. They made collabs with Undefeated and player exclusives, but the Protro was hard to get, and it was a smart thing to do because the reality was Kobe's sneakers have been languishing on shelves. And I really do mean languishing. And the picture you're seeing over here to the side is the 360. The model had, actually that's the AD NXT, that's not the 360. The model had hit RTV territory, returned to vendor, and it became a staple at Nike factory and clearance stores, allowing for arbitrage with willing resellers, and there weren't many willing resellers. During retail dives, I began picking up the models. The local store had so many of the shoes in stock. One of the local stores here, at one point, they didn't limit how many of the shoes you could buy. The Kobe line even ended up at off-price retail outlets like Ross and Marshalls. In 2018, I even did a video telling people to get the City Gear, where they had offered the shoes, buy one, get one for $1. The cold hard truth, the following numbers are pulled directly from my data. So when you look right here to the side, this is data that comes directly from StockX on sales that I've had in resale on Kobe shoes. And this is going to be as hard as it gets to see. For you guys that are fans, I know it sucks. I never beat people up on shoe sales, and when Kobe died, I didn't sell any Kobe's. So what you're going to see in my paperwork is a stop of when literally you'll see the last Kobe that I sold. I think I had one listed that was up that I forgot to pull down. I haven't sold Kobe since he died. I just don't feel like that's a good thing to do. So anyway, I said that over here. The following numbers are pulled directly from my data on Kobe footwear sold from 2017 to 2020. I avoided reselling Kobe's after his death. I had the opportunity to sell an abundance of the footwear, but it felt wrong to capitalize on his death. I had one pair listed which sold on 2/24/2020. The shoes sold for above retail. Out of 209 pair of Kobe's sold since 2017. So I sold 209 pair of Kobe's since 2017. Only 3 pair sold for above retail. It wasn't until Kobe's death that the price of the shoes skyrocketed. Actually, it was 4 pair that sold above retail, and I have them highlighted here. The AD Lakers Black Mamba, Protro Undefeated Black Mamba, Kobe 3 Fade to Black, Kobe 5 Protro Chaos. I have not participated in the purchase of the shoes since then, and to be honest, Nike made the model extremely limited, and that's understandable. His death was a chance to rebuild the brand after years of slow sales. This is a micro set of data and cannot be considered completely representative of the entire marketplace. After creating these micro sets of data, I found that my information aligns with larger data sets, and I know that's just like a preface, but number of shoes sold, 209. Shoes sold above retail, 4. The model sold above retail right here. I'll put the link to the article in the description, but you have to be a subscriber to read it, so that's up to you if you want to subscribe and see that. The places where I bought the Kobe's were City Gear, Hibbett Sports, Foot Locker, and Nike factory clearance stores. The footwear I purchased did not come from the low-end line of Mamba and Rage. The shoes purchased were from the AD, NXT, and Protro lines. Protro. The average SRP of those shoes was $182.70. Now, what I mean by average SRP, hold on one second. I'm going to restart this and not restart it, but I'm coming right back. 1 second. Got it. All right, sorry about that. I have to check my phone when I get text messages because I'm here in the office and people are dropping stuff off and different things like that. Okay, so the footwear I purchased did not come from the low end line of the Mamba and Rage. In other words, the shoes that were the cheaper shoes that were readily available, where you could go into a Dick's Sporting Goods or to a Foot Locker where you can get the Mamba Rage, and those shoes are like 90 and $100. I didn't buy any of those shoes. So everything that's sold over here in this list comes from the line that cost $150 to $200 a pair. So the average SRP is 182, between 200 and 150. The fact that, and this is a chart, and I want to expand this out so you guys can see this chart. Now, where you see low 1 to 60 is the blue section. That's 8% of the shoes sold from $1 to $60. 8%. All right. The mid price, $60 to $120. 54% of the shoes sold from $60 to $120. Remember, all of these shoes cost at an average of $182. 54% of the shoes sold below retail. That's not a good thing for anybody. Not Nike, Foot Locker, for anybody. That's not a good thing. Now, the high end, which I price at $120 to $180, 37% sold. Once again, though, the SRP is $182. Even $180 for a Kobe is still below retail. So when you add these together, you got 91% of these shoes sold below retail. Premium 180 and up, only 1% of, in 3 to 4 years, 1% of the shoes sold for a price above retail. Those are not good numbers. You can't sustain a brand when the price is that high. And Kobe shoes are so technical, they have to be more expensive because they put a lot of this tech in them. Now, how much do they really cost? About $70 to make, maybe $60 to make. Could they drop the price to 3 times? Even at 60 times 3, you're still at 180. So the shoes are priced appropriately. Wholesale is going to be basically half of what the shoe costs. That means Nike's going to make $30 on wholesale. This is the way this works, y'all. All right. So here's the real facts. 182.70. The fact that 91% of the shoes sold at below $120 is evidence that the line was extremely overpriced, and any brand creating footwear with an SRP of $180 and a resale price of under $120 should dig a bit deeper, because I wouldn't have grabbed those shoes if there wasn't at least a 10% profit built into each model. That means if I paid $10, I needed to make $1 on it, right? If I paid $50, I needed to make $5 on it. If there wasn't 10% on any of these shoes, I would not have bought them. Now, this is the fact. I could sell the shoes at less than $60 on some of these models. That's extremely problematic. Extremely problematic. I'm sure that the Bryant Estate was shown the same numbers, right? If they weren't, then maybe they should have been shown these numbers or numbers that are similar. I can only imagine that navigating the discussion was difficult. Nike gave Kobe a chance after charges of rape. Nike built Kobe's persona via a marketing machine that allowed the once likable all-American high school star that dated Moesha to become the rogue samurai, the Black Mamba. Nike effectively erased Afro Kobe and Adidas from sneaker history. With that said, and this is the part where we get to some solutions, I do think that the Bryant Estate has allowed itself to become a brand by walking away. They can approach both Adidas and Nike for collaborations. This means that Nike will be able to produce the limited footwear they want with consent from the brand. And the Bryant Estate can work with Los Angeles designer Jerry Lorenzo on throwback Kobe gear, with the Afro Kobe logo finally being available for marketing. There's so many different things that could happen. But the cold hard truth is that even in death, an extended rollout of Kobe product would not perform very well in the marketplace. It didn't do well during his career, and after his career, The line only resonated with a small segment. In death, the sell-through is purely capitalistic. That's not a good thing. All right, so that's me finishing that up. But what I want to do is even take this further back, and I'm going to leave this on the shoes just so we'll have an image over there to the side. And I'm going to look at my inventory from Amazon, and it's by date. So this is going to take us under 2017, right? And we'll get to see the pricing of some of it. The best shoe that Kobe had was the Kobe 10. So the Kobe 10 at that time I was selling for $269, and that was in 2016 when he retired. Now they sell for a lot more now. So obviously people are being greedy. You even see someone here with their lowest price at $832 on the Kobe 10. Now the Kobe 10 was a pretty solid shoe. All right, that's actually the Kobe 11. I said Kobe 10. The Kobe 11 was pretty solid. It was at $199 to $189. So we keep going down, $209. These shoes, the Kobe 9, I think that's the Kobe 11 EM, which was the engineered mesh, $147.28. Even at one point, the Kobe 10 Elite American, that shoe was only at $159.99, and that's a good shoe. But this is all the way back in 2016 when he retired also. So as we keep going through this list of shoes, my goodness, that's a lot. I didn't realize how many shoes I sold on Amazon back in, well, I did. I was doing $500,000 to $1 million a year on Amazon. So yeah, the best shoes were those Kobe 10 Elites. $309.99 I was selling those for. People are listing them for $760. People are such assholes, man. $765. So $150. I can't knock somebody's hustle, but you know, people are jerks, man. So the 10s did okay. They sold, nope, the 10s were $180 shoes. So even on Amazon, I was selling these below retail. $119.99. Let's go all the way back here. These did really well. The fundamentals, the Kobe 10 fundamentals, those did well. I'm going to go all the way to the very last page before I end this. The Kobe 7 in 2012, Kobe 7s, the Poison Pack, I was selling at $150 a pair, yo. $139, $150. These things weren't killing. They were not killing. And I was getting these from the Nike clearance store at $79.99 a pair. So I could sell them and still turn a profit at that time. So we're talking all the way back to 2012 on these. All the way back to 2012. And it's giving you the price that I was selling them for. The Adidas Kobe Bryant Olympics, the top 10, I was selling for $110, which was right at retail. Right at retail. But, you know, you got to be real with yourself, man. The people who are paying for these shoes now, that are overpaying for these shoes, they were letting them sit at the stores. I think the Bryant Estate did a smart thing by breaking away. And I guess that's what I'm going to end this on. That's it. I'm going to put the link to the article down here below. You guys have watched the video. You pretty much got the article for free. Yay. But there's other stuff on the site that you can subscribe to. And I just wanted to give you guys data, real numbers on resale. All right. And this is the most tragic part. And I'm really going to wrap it up here. I was selling the shoe for $33.80 at one point because I couldn't get rid of Kobe ADs. 33 all the way, you see here, Kobe ADs all the way to 60.52. You know how much I paid for those shoes? They were on a 30% off on $29.99 at the clearance store. I was getting these shoes for $19.99. $19.99 at the Nike clearance store. That's not a joke. I think the most expensive one I did buy was $39.99. So when I sold a gang of them for like $66, I had made double my money on them. So everything else that sold down here at this lower price, they were either $19.99 or they were stupid cheap. Stupid cheap. We got to quit kind of overdoing it and acting like things are something that they're not. The numbers never lie. The 360 NXT I sold for $97.90. The shoe retail for $200. And you can go all the way up this list. And like I said, I only had 4 pair that sold for above retail. Now all of a sudden it's hot and it's selling out. That's it, man. Done. I'll see you guys on the next one. No, this was longer than usual. I almost apologize. But if you stayed this long, you really wanted to hear this. And I appreciate you. Sit, y'all. Peace.